Hey guys, what's up? I'm here with a review of a found footage mockumentary fantasy horror film from 2014 from director Adam Green, the director of the Hatchet series, which I really liked the Hatchet series. And tonight's movie is Digging Up the Marrow. Now, I wasn't interested in this movie at first, but upon looking at one of the posters and reading that it is directed by Adam Green, and it is about the artwork of, and the monsters in the movie are based on the artwork of Alex Pardee, who is an amazing artist. He does like a lot of drawings of monsters and like surrealist stuff. If you do not know who Alex Pardee is, the poster I have up, it was actually drawn and like colored by him on screen right now, the one I have up. So yeah, the guy has skill, and I'm definitely interested in seeing what he can offer, because I've always wanted to see a film like with monsters, like with some of his monsters in it, because his monsters are always really cool. I hope this movie's going to be good. The only way I'm going to find out is if I watch it. So this movie has to do with a documentary film crew, and they're like doing a documentary on like monster based artwork, and they meet an artist who can prove that monsters do actually exist. This has great potential, and I pray that it is good. So let's watch. So this movie kind of starts out with a lot of interviews with a lot of really cool people. Listing a few, Alex Pardee is interviewed for this film, which is cool because it's like a mockumentary where the monsters are based on his art. So, and he gives his input on whether or not he thinks monsters are real and why he likes to draw monsters and stuff. Along with the lead singer of Guar, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The band that they like to dress up like monsters and stuff, like a metal band. I cannot pronounce their band name to save my life, but the lead singer of the band is interviewed for the film, along with Don Caselli. I can't pronounce names. Who is the director of Phantasm, which I have yet to see. And he's also the director of Bubba Hotep, which is another film I've yet to see. But one film I have seen from him is John Dies at the End, which was pretty good. An interview with Tony Todd, who, if you don't know who he is, he played Candyman. Candyman, for Christ's sakes, man. He gives his input on his why he likes monsters and stuff, why he portrays monsters, and of course Lloyd Kaufman. To see him in this film was really cool. And when the guys being interviewed were asked where you could find monsters, he said, "Well, I know where you can find monsters, in Tromaville, New Jersey." And at that moment, I kind of had to pause the movie and like just giggle to myself a bit. This movie kind of has a lot of meta humor in it, and I'm already getting to the reviewing aspect of this. So basically, Adam Green stars in this movie as himself as a filmmaker, and he decides, I'm gonna make a documentary on this guy who sent me letters claiming that monsters are real, and that he has seen them, and that there's like a city 100 yards below the surface of the earth of monsters. Now I'm gonna get to the review. So, I'd like to mention, Digging Up the Marrow is not your typical found footage movie. It follows the lead of, like, I kind of want to say follows the lead of the Blair Witch Project. It does kind of a slow burn thing, like it'll build up tension and suspense and stuff. It like introduce the characters and everything. Then by like 30 minutes in, when you're like almost exactly 30 minutes in, you see the first monster you see in the movie. And it's basically monsterless for another half an hour. Well, not another half an hour. I'd like maybe another like 20, like maybe another like 15, 20 minutes. Then you see another monster, and then you reach like the hour and 10-minute mark where you see probably the most amount of monsters you're gonna see. Yeah. So, it's got like, you know, a ton of interviews and build up and stuff. Yeah, you don't really see a monster until about 30 minutes in, and the acting here is actually kind of all around pretty good, along with the writing. Like, there are scenes between the kind of crazy monster hunting guy and Adam Green, the director. You know, there are scenes where they're talking about stuff, and he's interviewing, telling them about these monsters and stuff. And there are moments where John Green decided to throw in a little bit of humor here and there. And those scenes are pretty funny, and I really, really dig that he tried to throw a little bit of humor in the film. The characters are not super complex, but they're likable still. The makeup effects, and I think there was maybe like one CGI monster. Those are all pretty good, top-notch stuff. You know, for the camera work, if you could probably assume, because this is a found footage film and my camera's dying. Oh no. I plug it in. No. Okay, there we go. Sorry, my camera was dying. So, where was I? As you can assume, because this is a found footage film, the camera work is all over the place. Like during the interview scenes and stuff, it's very steady. Like the camera work throughout the film most of the time is steady. There's, you know, scenes towards the like end and hour mark of the movie where it does get a little shaky here and there. So if you're not if you're not a fan of found footage films, you probably shouldn't watch this one at all. But it's more of a mockumentary than a found footage movie. The sound mix and music are also pretty good here, but I'm gonna say this right now. I don't have really anything negative to say about this movie, but something I gotta mention. This movie is definitely not for everyone. I mean, I've read reviews that say this movie is a new classic, and I've also read reviews saying that this is easily one of the most disappointing movies ever made. Depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for a just big monster fest, this movie is not gonna satisfy your needs. There's the total amount of screen time the monsters get in this movie is probably equal to maybe 10-15 minutes. The rest of it is all about, you know, learning about the characters and stuff like that. You know, people talking, getting interviewed, and the movie doesn't get boring, honestly. It stays pretty interesting. It's just, if you're expecting some new, like, overly jump scare filled, you know, kind of Hollywood found footage film with monsters everywhere, this is not one of those movies. This is definitely not one of those movies. I mean, I was hoping that this movie wouldn't disappoint me, and honestly, I wasn't disappointed by it. I still really, really liked it. Although, I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed by the lack of monsters in the movie, and I feel like there should be maybe be a sequel, and I also think that my opinion on this is also the same opinion I have on the Babadook, which is that it's like, you know, in the Babadook, you rarely see him at all throughout the entire movie. And when he does show up, they're really good, tense scenes. And that's how I feel about this. I feel like the lack of monsters in this movie is actually kind of beneficial towards it, because it gives it a tad of tension. It's a little creepy here and there. It's not a super enthralling movie, obviously, but it stays interesting. And on the gore meter from 1 to 10, 1 being something like Nosferatu, and 10 being something like Brain Dead, this Digging Up the Marrow is a 2. I give it a 2 because there's one scene where you see the remains of a corpse that was left behind by one of the monsters, and basically this guy's entire face and jaw is gone, and his legs and hands are gone. The guy who's telling you, the monster guy who's telling you about this, basically says the guy was just a lump of flesh with no arms or legs. But you don't see that, it's still a little tad bit graphic, and the pictures aren't black and white. There isn't really any gore in this movie at all. So if you're looking for gore, you're not gonna find it here. I still really like this movie. Not as violent or as gory or as hysterical as Hatchet, but it's still very imaginative and very cool and creepy, and I like the monsters, and I would like to see maybe a movie actually directed by Pardee himself. I would really like to see what he would do there. And finally, this movie is probably a combination of the Blair Witch Project and Nightbreed. I mean, a lot of people made comments on this film basically saying, oh, it's a found footage version of Nightbreed, and I'm like, a little bit, yeah, I could definitely see that, but I can definitely not see that at all here. 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really, really like this movie, and I would definitely give it a solid recommendation. That is, if you're looking for, you know, something not super exciting, but still entertaining and interesting, and it's still got some cool makeup effects and stuff. This is definitely one I would give a solid recommendation. I guess that's it. So anyway, guys, if you liked the video, like my channel, be sure to like this video, favorite it, whatever you want, and maybe subscribe perhaps. I would really, really appreciate that. And check the links in the description below. There are links to things like my Tumblr, Twitter, all that, Facebook. All that is in the description below, as well as Rotten Cotton t-shirts, where I get my horror film t-shirts like this I Drink Your Blood t-shirt I'm wearing right now. This is available on their site for like 15 bucks. It's a pretty good deal if you buy like 6 or 7 shirts, and you get it. And if they're like under 20 bucks, you can buy them all together as a package, and you get it for like 70 bucks, and it's a really, really good deal. It's where I get my horror film t-shirts. And be sure to check out my friend Chloe, her cosplay and makeup tutorial channel. It is in the description. She always does something really interesting, really cool. And I guess that's it. I'm signing off. You guys have a good day, good night, good whatever. Peace.